video just to make sure that everybody has an opportunity for a clear visual without like an extra box in the way to see everything that's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. All right. Let's see. So you should now all be able to see the Contra Costa County Bar Association website. And there we go. So as Fastcase is a bar benefit, you will need to actually be sure that you're logging in through the bar site each and every time. And doing that is actually a very simple process. Directly here on the homepage, next to the login link is the Fastcase link. So you can get logged in and utilize Fastcase from here. Once you're logged in, you'll be placed on the Fastcase homepage, which looks like this. You'll notice that there's a very large Fastcase logo at the top center of the screen that says Fastcase Smarter Legal Research. This is just sort of the hallmark of our homepage and lets you know exactly where you are. So let's go over sort of the anatomy of this page, learn what is what on this screen. In the upper right corner, you'll see an orange circle. This is your account menu. And if you give that a click, it'll give you the opportunity to access your search settings, account management, and to log out or go back to our older system, Fastcase 6. Next up, we have our apps and tools menu. Depending on your experience in life, this may resemble a waffle or a Rubik's Cube or a phone keypad. But regardless, if you give that a click, you'll have the opportunity to check out some of our apps and tools and get linked to our sister sites and partners. Next up, we have the help and support menu. If you click the help and support icon, this question mark icon, you're given a lengthy list of menu options. We're going to start at the bottom together. You can click on the more support link to get access to our support information. This includes our contact information, so our email address, our phone number, our hours, and then even a form you can fill out on the website so you don't have to open your email. We also provide a link to hotkeys. This is the menu of keyboard shortcuts that can be used in Fastcase. This is primarily helpful for anyone who's going to be navigating the system primarily by keyboard rather than mouse. Through the help and support menu, you can also check out our webinar schedule. While we are certainly happy to be conducting this session with the bar today, we do actually run 2 programs a month of our own as well that are CLE accredited in a multitude of states. We have an introduction course, an introductory course, and then we also offer an advanced legal research course. The attorney on staff who conducts these, Alex, is fantastic. He's a wonderful resource. And so if you are looking to sort of bump up your research skills, I would highly recommend that course. You can get information about scheduling and registration through this link. We also provide access to our tutorials. These are 3 to 5 minute videos that are actually provided on a YouTube playlist. These cover sort of the hot topic items inside Fastcase and the most frequently asked how-to items as well. We also have a link for our user guide. We actually have 2. We offer a shortened user guide. It's about 2 pages, sort of text only. So that you can learn, you can essentially say like, how do I search for a case? And it's got a very, very direct text response. It's all sort of short form and more of like a frequently asked questions user guide, if you will. We do also offer a full lengthy user guide that includes screenshots and full descriptions and explanations of where things are, what things are, and how to use them. We do provide access to a changelog for anybody who's more technologically minded and who might be interested in that kind of information. And then at the top of the menu, we have our Boolean tips. If you give this a click, it's going to open a listing of the search operators that function within Fastcase. At the left side of the screen, this left column, you'll see the listing of different search types. At the center column, an example of what you would type in to utilize that search type. And then at the right column, a description of the documents that would provide you with. The remaining 2 icons are specific to your account. That would be the My Library icon and Export Queue icon. And we're actually going to cover those a little bit later on. Here at the center of the screen, just below the Fastcase logo, we have our search bar. So we just talked about Boolean tips and how Fastcase can conduct Boolean research, but you'll notice the search bar clearly states type keyword, natural language, or citation, and then has the 3 dots, some ellipses there. So the Fastcase search bar is a single search bar where you can type in pretty much anything that you're looking for. You can enter keywords, Boolean searches, natural language searches. You can type in a citation or a case name. You can type in a docket number, a statute number, a rule number, whatever it is that you can look for, you can type it into this single Fastcase search bar. We've streamlined that process to make it very easy to just type in and get started. Before you conduct your search, you're going to want to choose the jurisdiction and data type that you're searching for. You can do that by clicking the jurisdictions menu at the right of the search bar. When you give this a click, the menu will open. You do want to wait for all of the gray bars to be done loading, just so that the menu is fully interactive. At this point, you can choose as many or as few jurisdictions as you see fit. So we could check the box for California. That's going to take a moment to load up, and then that check is reflected. But you could select other states or federal materials to search for simultaneously. At the right side of the screen, you can choose your data type. So if you wanted to conduct your research specifically in cases, or if you're particularly looking for regulations, you can check any of the boxes that are needed. When you click on the box for cases, you'll notice that the menu expands. This is true for any of the selections, and it's going to show you what selections are automatically included for what you've chosen. So if we choose California cases, we're automatically searching through these particular databases. You'll notice that you can include Ninth Circuit, for example, or the districts of California if you'd like. And then also, of course, the bankruptcy opinions are available. So you can add to those checkboxes to include databases as you see fit. So we could add the Ninth Circuit, for example. And then once you've made your selections, you'll click Save and Continue at the top of the screen. You'll notice that the selections you've made appear directly below the search bar. So here we have California cases all, and then we also have Ninth Circuit. If at any point you needed to remove those databases, you can click the corresponding X icon to remove them. If you've removed all of the databases, it'll say primary and secondary all, as that is the Fastcase default. Below the search bar, we have our Browse Libraries button, and then towards the bottom of the screen here, Fastcase Blog and Docket Alarm. The Fastcase blog icon is currently highlighted, it's colored in, and below this you'll see a blurb of information. This is actually a portion of a post from our current and most recent Fastcase blog entry. So here you can see this is actually talking about our merger with VLEDs, giving information about that and discussing all of the excitement that's coming with this. It's been a very wonderful development. You can also see that we have the Docket Alarm icon here that can be clicked on. This will give you more information about our sister site, Docket Alarm, if you're interested. But let's go ahead and click on the Browse Libraries button together. Now, when I click on this library, I'm being placed into Maryland because that's how my account is set up, but you'll very likely either be placed on the Jurisdiction Selections page or into California. Regardless of where you're placed, if you need to change your jurisdiction, you can click into the Change Jurisdiction by Typing box here at the top left. You can then scroll down and select your jurisdiction, or you could start typing one in and click it from the listing. So we're going to switch over to California. Once you've chosen that jurisdiction, the page, as you can see, does take a few moments to load. That's because there is a lot of information here, and it can be overwhelming. So we're going to talk about it together to make it make a little bit more sense. You'll notice that the screen is divided into two sections with primary material at the left and secondary material at the right. The secondary material section is going to contain mostly publications, treatises, desk books, law journals, blog articles, that kind of thing. The majority of this information is not included with your bar benefits, but is able to be purchased sort of a la carte. This would be indicated by when you explore these sections, there will be a price tag icon next to each of the publications available. You can click on those to learn more and receive the opportunity to make the purchase. But there are certain things, such as the California Bar Journal, that may be available to you. Over on the left side of the screen, we have our primary materials. All of these are included in your bar benefits. You have access to case law, court rules, ethics and disciplinary materials, attorney general opinions, the Constitution, statutes, session laws, and administrative materials, including administrative opinions and regulations. Now, there's a multitude of different icons next to each of these links. For example, under case law opinions, we can see listed first is the California Court of Appeals, and there's a magnifying glass icon next to this listing. This indicates that the database is searchable. That means that you can conduct a search through that database. Now, you'll notice that's the only icon available for the case law opinions. That is because case law is not browsable material. So you would not be able to, for example, click on, you wouldn't be able to, click on California Court of Appeals and then click on a volume for that particular reporter and then click on the page number. If you have that information, you'll want to type it in directly. But you'll notice there are some other icons associated with the multitude of our resources. For example, this I icon, this indicates the information. So you can receive the most up-to-date information about that database. So when we hover over the I icon for the California Code, you can see that it's current through the 2023 legislative session and was last updated in Fastcase April 8th. We can do the same thing for the United States Code. We can see that this is current through these particular public laws and was last updated April 14th. We can hover over the California Civil Code and see this was actually just updated yesterday and is current through the 2023 legislative session. And this just gives you the opportunity to review how up to date each of these databases are. Another icon that you're going to see next to these listings is the 3 lines icon. It looks a bit like a bar graph, but this indicates that the database is browsable. What this means is you can click into it and click through it in an outline or directory type of fashion. So if we click on the California Code, this is going to load up a list of editions or years that you can view the code from. Now, of course, if you want to view current law, you'll be clicking into the current year. But there are certainly instances where you may need to review laws from previous years. Say you're working on an appeal for an offense that took place a few years ago. You may need to reference the laws that were written at that time as they were in place at that point at the time of the offense. We go back to 2000 at present for the California Code. So you can click on the year that you're interested in, and this is going to provide you with a listing of sections that are available for the statutes. So if you wanted to access, we can scroll down through here and you can see all of the multitude of code types that are available. If we wanted to review the civil code, we could click on California Civil Code. That provides you with a listing of subsections under that particular source. We could view the definitions and sources of law, and that provides us with the statutes that are contained within that section. When we click on that, the statute itself takes a moment and loads up over on the right side of the screen. But the outline remains on the left. This is so that you can quickly navigate between the statutes to read through whole subsections or compare them as you see necessary. So for example, if we wanted to go through and take a look at the family code, we'll see the various divisions within. We can review marriage. We can review the validity of marriage, for example, and then we can see the capacity to consent. We can review, the court order granting permissions. We can access names of parties to marriage. We can view all of these statutes and quickly click through the entire subsection of this division. An interesting point to point out when you're viewing statutes in Fastcase, at the top of the statute, you'll see a black title bar with the statute information inside. And at the left of that is an A icon. This is for annotations. You can click on this icon to view the listing of cases that have referenced this statute. So that certainly comes in handy. We can return to the Fastcase homepage at any time by clicking the Fastcase logo in the upper left corner. From the homepage, you'll notice that we're back on the screen that we were seeing before. we can go ahead and conduct a search together. I know that searching is the primary portion of Fastcase that's utilized. It's the primary function of our website. So again, you can choose your jurisdiction by clicking the jurisdictions menu and making your selections here. So if you wanted to search just California, you can. If you wanted to choose statutes, you certainly could. And you'll click Save and Continue after making your selections. I'm going to leave our selections at primary and secondary all for this particular demonstration. This is just going to ensure that we have a very wide range of results. So the search that I type in, I'm going to be conducting within the entirety of the Fastcase database. The Fastcase search bar does have one feature that we haven't talked about just yet, and that's that it uses a bit of a predictive text or type ahead feature. That means that as you're typing in your search, we're going to provide you with a list of suggested searches and suggested documents that might fit what you're trying to type in. So if I begin trying to type in Marbury v. Madison, as I start typing in the name Marbury, you'll notice that it comes up as a suggested term as well as a suggested document. This takes a few steps out of the equation. So instead of typing in the entirety of the case name, searching for it, and then clicking on the case itself, as I'm typing in a partial case name, I can click directly on the case. This has shortened my time, created a shortcut for my links, and it's fewer clicks overall. The same is true if you're typing in a citation as well. I happen to have a Southwest Third site stuck on my brain, so we're going to type that in together. As you see, as I begin to type in the citation, the more information that I provide, the more the suggested documents change. And then as I type in the full citation, I can click on the document itself. I'm going to start by typing in just two basic keywords. I'm going to type in the word dog and the word bite. And I'm hitting enter on the keyboard to submit the search, but you can also click the orange magnifying glass icon at the far right. The search that I've entered is the word dog separated by a space from the word bite. This is telling our system that any document I'm interested in has to contain both of those words somewhere in the document. Now, of course, just by the nature of these two words, many times they're going to appear side by side in the documents of my results, but that's not a requirement. Because they're just separated with a space, there's no other information that's entered into the keyword bar or into the search bar. There's no additional keywords or anything. These two terms can be found anywhere in the document. So while they'll certainly appear side by side, there are also going to be results where they are several paragraphs apart. If you were looking specifically for the phrase dog bite, you would want to be sure to put quotation marks around that search. As you can see, I'm changing my search at the top of the screen directly in the search bar. I don't need to go back to the home page to change my search. I can make alterations. I can add to the search right here as well. So I put in the quotation marks and I'm pushing enter on the keyboard. What this has done is it's told the system to find the phrase dog bite. So these two words stuck side by side. That's the purpose of those quotations. I like to remember this as remembering that if I'm using a quote, I'm being specific, I'm being exact. And so that's what we're doing here. So now all of the documents in my results, which is a little over 5,000, have to contain the word dog and bite side by side. So the actual phrase dog bite. And so I've got over 5,000 documents that do so. When we're taking a look at these results, you'll notice that each of the document types has an identifier so that we know what type of results we're looking at. We've got books, jury instructions, statutes. We can keep scrolling down to find even more information. You'll notice that we'll have a case here. We've got a court rule, and we can just keep scrolling. Here's some cases. Fastcase utilizes what we refer to as an infinite scroll option. What that means is that while there are 5,000 documents in these results, I can scroll through all 5,000 of them without ever changing the page that I'm on. Now you'll notice we can quickly click the scroll to the top function, which is very helpful, especially in longer search results lists such as this one. And I don't know that I've ever met anyone who has actually chosen to scroll through all 5,000 or so results, but the feature and function is there. Certainly comes in handy with fewer results that would take up a more reasonable amount of your time. the results themselves can continue to be changed by altering the search further. So at this point, we could add to the search. We could change the search. So we've covered dog and bite anywhere in a document, and we've covered dog bite side by side in a document. But there are instances where the phrase dog bite might not be exact. Perhaps the term that was used was the dog did bite the person. Because the word did is in there, it's not going to be included in this particular list of results. We can account for that by using a proximity search. So you could type in dog within 15, bite, and submit that into the search bar. This is looking for the word dog within 15 words of the word bite. That's the purpose of this W/15. Now that number is a number of your choosing, anything from 2 to 500 or so, whatever your needs may be. This particular search is giving us over 9,000 results, and each of them is going to contain the word dog and the word bite within 15 words of each other. So that can certainly be helpful if you don't know the precise phrasing that the court has used, but you do have a general idea of what that phrasing may have been, or if you're just trying to keep two terms sort of contextually relevant to one another. Fastcase does not utilize within sentence or within paragraph. We stick strictly with this numbers function. And that's just to be very straightforward and upfront. You can certainly teach a computer what a sentence is and teach a computer what a paragraph is. But when it comes to the law, those definitions get a little difficult for a computer. And that being, you could say, okay, well, a sentence is anytime there's hard punctuation, right? Several words followed by a period or an exclamation mark or question mark, that kind of thing. And that would certainly work for the most part until you run across an abbreviation or an acronym or an actual citation in the middle of a document that's a part of a sentence. And so then you'll find that, okay, so a sentence was all of a sudden 943 space S. Where's the rest of the sentence? And so that would just be difficult and frustrating to deal with. We like to be as upfront and focused as possible, and that's why we've chosen the specific numbers function. It's 15, it's 5, it's 2, it's 20. You know exactly what you're looking for when you go over those results. You know precisely what you're going to be receiving as far as what the limitations are. If you're looking for a recommendation, as I've been doing this for a long time now, my recommendation for a sentence, the number of words would actually be around this 15-word mark. That's typically where I like to start things, depending on the context of the terms and that sort of thing. And if you're looking for a suggestion for paragraph, I recommend something between 60 and 90. And that's just my preference. Again, these are just what I recommend if you're feeling stuck or unsure and just needing to get started. Everybody has their own way of doing things and develops their own research style. So certainly not the end of it, but it could be the beginning. Now let's take a look at these results a little bit more closely. Your results are sorted according to relevance. A fun fact, so many times when something is being sorted by relevance, you might be wondering, who said that this is relevant? What determines relevance? I know that's certainly a matter that comes up in law, but when we're looking at search results, that certainly matters as well. As far as I am aware, and I say this just as far as I am aware, Fastcase is the only search engine where not only can you figure out what makes something relevant, what the relevance determination is, but you can actually impact it and change it to your own custom relevance. You can do this by clicking on the account menu in the upper right corner and choosing search settings. When you do this, you'll notice a portion of this says customize your relevance algorithm. The following document properties are the 8 pieces on a 0 to 10 sliding scale that Fastcase uses to determine what makes one document more relevant or less relevant than another. So here, this is actually what you see on my screen, the Fastcase default setting for relevance. We've got responsiveness, importance, authority, date, and then we've even got usage built into this. Now you can go into this and you can decide that this is not how your particular practice and your particular area of law really determines relevance, perhaps. These aren't the factors that are important to you, at least not in this weighted scale. Let's say date is significantly more important to the area that you practice in. You can change that. Let's say that the number of times other Fastcase users are utilizing documents is not important to you at all. You can make those changes as well. Responsiveness isn't as important as authority. And so you can make all of these changes and slide these abound for thousands of combinations, really. And once you've made those changes for your own personalized relevance algorithm, you can click the Save Changes link. That sort of locks those in, and that's not going to change what results you receive. It's going to change what order you see them in. Now, if you've done this, if you've gone in and you've sort of toyed with the relevance algorithm and you're finding that it's just not working the way that you had hoped, you can, of course, reset to the Fastcase default for the relevance algorithm, and then you'll click Save Changes to lock that in as well. We do have it on good authority based on the numerous attorneys I've spoken with, as well as the attorneys that helped develop the algorithm, that this particular relevance setting is pretty on point. It's very functional. So I would say give it a chance. But of course, you can customize it, which is a fantastic feature. The other options for sorting your search results include date, either newest first or oldest first, alphabetically, either A first or Z first, and then number of times cited. And we have that as cited anywhere or cited here. And there's a little bit of a difference there. If we choose cited anywhere, and it's going to put the most number of times cited at the top, what this is saying is that, for example, Matthew V. Jones has been cited the most number of times in the entirety of the Fastcase database while using dog within 15 words of bite. However, within these 9,263 results, it's been cited here 40 times. So if we change our sort order to number of times cited here, of course, the most is at the top. You'll notice that our top result is very different. We've got Collier v. Zambito. And that's because out of the 9,263 results, this particular opinion was cited 153 times within these documents. Now, it's also been cited 331 times anywhere, but that's significantly lower than the case we were talking about previously. So these cited by references are a little bit different. The idea being that cited anywhere means that certainly it's been cited a lot, and that cited here means that hopefully it's been cited more times relevant to your topic. So those can be very helpful and beneficial differences. Over on the left side of the screen, you'll see that your current sources is on display. So this is the section and data type that you have chosen to do your research in. That's listed here at the top. And then below that, you'll notice the available sources, meaning this is what else is out there. So while we've got several thousand cases, et cetera, we can also access statutes, we can access blogs, bar journals, et cetera. Below the section, we have date range. With just one click, you can limit your results to the past 20 years, the past 10 years, or the past year. You can also enter a specific date range. So you could enter 1994 through 2007, or you could enter a specific date range rather than year range. And you could do, April 1st through July 25th of 2022. Whatever your needs may be there. And after typing in your ranges, you would click the check mark to apply them. And that can certainly come in handy for limiting your results to be more relevant for you. We also have the suggested terms section here. This is a listing of search terms that are relevant to the terms you've already typed in. So if you are just, feeling stuck in your research that day, if you're researching an area of law that's not as familiar to you, or you're just feeling uninspired, you can check out these listing of suggested terms that's provided here. You can scroll through here and determine, this is a matter of negligence I'm dealing with. So you could click the plus sign for negligence. That's going to change your search to add the word negligence to your requirements. Scrolling down, let's say we are not dealing with a matter of prejudice. So you could click the minus sign next to that term. That's going to add the term prejudice to your search with a not function. So we're going to actually demonstrate that one. So if you click the minus sign, you'll see that the search has changed. We have dog within 15 of bite, not prejudice. What this means is that all of the documents in our search results have to use the word dog within 15 words of the word bite, but cannot use the word prejudice anywhere. So that can be helpful for removing unnecessary or unrelated topics from your search, giving you the opportunity to limit your results in that manner. So let's go back to the homepage. Again, we can always do that by clicking the Fastcase logo. And let's demonstrate another search. We're going to start off with handguns, felony. So we're typing that in, we're hitting search, and I'm getting 10,000 documents. It looks like a lot of these are cases, but I've also got attorney general opinions. If I scroll through here, I'll find statutes and court rules and all kinds of things. And I might decide, you know, that's enough. I really just wanted cases. I should have made that distinction beforehand. You have two options there. So you can always check the box for cases over the left of the screen. And you can also change your jurisdiction right here at the top. You can click in here and say, you know, really, I meant to only search California. So you can check the box for California. After making that selection, you can click Save and Continue, and your search is going to re-perform. So now we're looking at a significantly different number of documents here, 1,140. Again, mostly cases, some attorney general opinions, and so on. And so we could say officially, really, I just want cases, and check the box for cases. Now you might be wondering, this says 1,125 results. Why does it say 7,000 next to cases? Well, that's because we're showing you the number of possible results if you were to change your sources. So there are 1,125 cases in California, but there are 5,234 cases among all of the states, 7,628 cases, including federal. So there's a variety of a breakdown here, and I like to go through and demonstrate that and explain those different numbers, because otherwise it might seem kind of confusing or misleading even if you're not aware of what they stand for. So we've done enough talking about the search results page. Let's actually talk about the results. Here we have a listing of cases that meet our search criteria. And as we scroll through them, they all look pretty similar. You know, there's nothing really standing out here. Nothing's catching our attention. So let's say we wanted to change our sort order. We're going to change this to number of times cited here. And that's changing our sort order. It's sort of flipping our perspective. It's giving us the opportunity to review the results differently. Now we're scrolling through, we're saying, you know, this is all looking pretty similar. What is this red flag? So Fastcase does have a citator service. It is called Authority Check. And you'll notice that all of our cases have a flag icon to the left of the title. Now, most of them are going to be neutral or not colored in, but some of them will be colored in red. We only have one color that we color in at this time. That's just to keep things very simple. The red flag, however, does indicate that the case has received some type of negative treatment by subsequent cases. So let's go ahead. We're going to click into this case. We want to know what's happened. So when we click on People v. Price, the results list for our search remains at the left of the screen. This makes it very easy for us to click between cases. I wanted to view case 1. No, I wanted to view case 5. Actually, let me reread People v. Price. And by clicking each of the results on the left side of your screen, they populate as you choose them on the right. So here we're taking a look at this case, and that red flag icon appears at the left of the title of the case. You can click on that, and it's going to give you the listing of negative treatment. So it actually looks like this case has received 89 negative treatments. And we can see in bold sort of what's taken place. This particular case has superseded by statute on other grounds. We can also see, again, superseded by statute on other grounds. And I get the feeling this is going to be a lot of what we're seeing here. But you can scroll through and sort of just get a taste for what may have happened. Now, you're always going to want to click into the case and just verify what's taken place and see how that impacts the research that you're doing. So you could click into that case and it opens in its own tab. So you'll notice this is the case that we just reviewed. but the case that we had opened from our search results stays accessible to us. We're not losing our place. We're not ending up in some type of legal research rabbit hole. It's opening in its own tab to keep that in place. So here we can see the case automatically opens for us and displays its authority check. And then you can close that if you need, and you can just scroll through and take a look at the case. You could find where the opinion is referenced, read through it, and then see how it impacts what you needed to cite it for. And you can close that tab in order to return to your listing. Now, there are 89 cases that have cited this negatively, but we can click on this red bar to shrink those cases up. And you'll also notice this case has been cited 1.75 thousand times generally. So you can scroll through and click on each of those opinions if you wanted to as well. Again, they all open in their own tab to keep your sort of search flow intact. You can close the authority check report at any time by clicking the X icon here at the top. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, this is entirely too visually overwhelming. What is going on? I can't make heads or tails of it. It's just too much. Not a problem. You can, at the right of the title of the case, click on our full screen icon. That's this square that's provided here. This is going to allow the case to take up the maximum width of the screen, significantly decreasing your visual clutter and giving you the opportunity to see more of the case. And now, if you wanted to see the most of the case possible, you can also hide the toolbars. This will allow the case or other document you're viewing to take up the most space on your screen possible. So then you can easily scroll through and read through the case. Now, as you're scrolling through these cases, you're going to notice that there are a variety of documents being referenced in these cases. And if there's a case that is referenced, it would be linked and you would be able to click on it to access it. Something else that you'll notice as you're scrolling through case documents is that wherever possible, we include dual, if not triplicate pagination if needed. So here we've got the Cal 4th reporter as well as the Pacific 2nd and the Cal Reporter 2nd. And we can see all of that pagination. So we have, in this instance, triplicate pagination, but it would typically be dual. So we've got page 106 for the Cal Reporter 2nd. We have page 130 for the Cal Reporter 2nd. So that presumes that there's been a significant amount of information that was either printed with it. So this would indicate if it was printed by a different publisher and there was copyright material that might have been there, that kind of thing. And then we can also see these additional page numbers where the opinion starts for the Cal 4th reporter on page 375 and for the Pacific 2nd on page 634. As you scroll through the document, you'll be able to note these page numbers in brackets if it is one of the subsequent pagination or subsequent citations, and in its own page break header if it is the primary citation. So in this instance, we have the primary citation, we've got the Pacific 2nd in brackets, and you'll notice that the bracketed citation, the pagination, will appear anywhere in the document. And that is because as we all know, these reporters do not print on the same pages pretty much ever. So that you'll notice that they're kind of just in the middle of paragraphs sometimes. And that's because for this particular opinion, this is where the Cal 4th reporter created the next page. But that pagination is available to you. Now, anytime you are utilizing a case, let's say that you're planning to actually copy this portion of the case to use it and reference in your brief. So you'll highlight it, right click, copy, and in this instance, I'm just going to open a notepad section for you. And now you're ready to paste it. Fastcase will automatically include the pagination information for you. So you'll notice we've automatically added the quotation mark, ellipses because it's a partial sentence, the ending quotation mark, and then the case name and relevant citation information. So at this point, if you needed to reference a particular page number, you could scoot that on in right here, right here, right here, wherever you would see fit or wherever was necessary. So that information is automatically included. All right, let's show our toolbars because we're going to go over these. And to exit the full screen mode, to bring back that list of search results, you'll click on what is now an inverted square and what looks like to me a bit like a flower. Now you'll give that a click and that'll allow the search results listing to come back up too. So let's take a look at some other icons. Here we have the bookmark ribbon icon in the title page. If we give this a click, this is going to bookmark this particular opinion in your library. This makes it easy for you to access this case later on. You'll notice that the bookmark ribbon is also available on the results page. So you could bookmark any document from the results screen without even opening it. Just above the title of the case, we have our Find in Document section. This allows you to type in a word to search for in this particular document. So it's not changing your search. It's not changing your search results. It's just like, hey, I want to know where the word court appears in this document. You can type that in to find it. You'll also notice the terms that you searched for are highlighted in various colored boxes up here at the top, and you can click on them repeatedly to be taken to that portion of the document where that is utilized. Also at the top of our screen here, we have our download icon. You can give this a click and choose from PDF or Word to download to. You can choose to include dual column formatting, and you can also choose whether or not you would like to highlight the terms that you searched for. When you download this, you'll notice it says document download pending, and then when it is successful, it shows up at the bottom left corner of your screen. Most of the time, that's going to depend on your browser and those settings, but you would then have that item downloaded successfully. Next to the download icon is our share document icon. Through this, you can click Add to Export Queue. I just clicked on that, but now you may be wondering, what is an export queue? So let's say your standard practice is to download the cases you come across that you want to read later in the day, maybe on the train home. So you have downloaded the case, and now you find another one and you download it, and you find another one and you download it, and you're downloading every single time. But you could save yourself a little bit of work. Perhaps you're downloading and then printing from the download and then getting up to go to the printer every time. And while that is fantastic for your steps, it is not great for saving you time. You're going to have to create that balance in your workflow. So what you could do is you could add the documents that you want to download and then maybe print to your export queue. It's a bit like a shopping cart. You don't have to pay for them, but like a holding basket, a little list of the items that you want to download. You'll notice that there is a plus sign next to each of the search results in the results page as well. This is so that you can add items to your export queue directly in your results page. So if the export queue icon or the ribbon icon are colored in, those are in your bookmarks or export queue. If they are not colored in, they are not in your bookmarks or export queue, but you can add them just with a click. We'll talk about where the export queue is and how to use it in just a moment, but also available through Share Document. You can email documents to yourself or a colleague. Of course, just type the email in. And you can also utilize our public link feature. So if you give this a click, you'll be given a link that you can copy and paste wherever you need it. Ways that we have seen this utilized include, but are not limited to, having this included in a brief or being posted on social media. How would this work? What is it for? So the public link feature gives you the opportunity to send a link to somebody, and then regardless of whether or not they're logged into Fastcase, or maybe they're not even a Fastcase user, the person you send the link to will be able to click on the link and read the full text of that document. Not a synopsis, not a one-page teaser. They'll actually be able to read the entirety of this opinion if I share this link. That can be really helpful, and especially in the two fields that I just mentioned. So if you're digitally submitting a brief, if the court allows, rather than appending a series of PDF documents, you could use live public links that the court could then click on, making the file size significantly smaller for your brief. Again, if the court allows it. But also if you wanted to utilize this in social media, say you wanted to talk about a new case that's come up and you're wanting to talk about a particular point of law that you found interesting, you can copy this link and post it to your social media sites along with your commentary and conversation, so that the people that you're interacting with can follow along with you and actually access that document for themselves to start and contribute to that conversation. And then you'll also notice through the share document section, if you did not want to automatically include the citation information when you copy text, you can uncheck the automatic box. Now, export cues and bookmarks. Where are they? So I mentioned that we have the My Libraries icon and the export queue icon also at the top right section of the page. So let's click on the export queue icon, this cloud here. This is going to open our export queue. And as you can see, I have a multitude of cases, rough estimate 2, 4, 6, 8. I guess it's not an estimate because I'm counting 13 cases. It's kind of an estimate. I stopped counting. But I have roughly 13 cases listed here in my export queue under current queue. Now, if I wanted to, I could say, you know, I don't need Carroll v. State. I'm going to delete that. Yes, I am sure. And it disappears. It's no longer in my export queue. So now I presumably have 12 cases. Let's say I'm happy with these and I'm ready to download them. I can click on the export icon and then provide a batch name. Now, this name will be visible in your file information. So I highly recommend something both appropriate and informative, something to help you with your filing system, if you will. So you can type in, I'll say webinar for your batch name. You can choose between PDF and Word, and you can choose whether you'd like to use dual column formatting. Personally, I don't want to. The next decision is a very important one, and I like to point out this difference. You can choose single file or zip archive. Now, if you're choosing single file, remember I have approximately 12 documents in my export queue. This is going to download a single PDF that I would scroll through to read all 12 of those cases. If I choose zip archive, I'll be downloading a folder containing 12 individual PDFs for each of those cases. So I'll have, one PDF for Home State Insurance Co. v. Continental Insurance Co., one PDF for People v. Manriquez, etc. So those are very different functions. Both have their merits, but it's an important difference to know about. If you choose zip archive, by the way, the batch name becomes the folder name for the zip folder that gets downloaded. And if you choose single file, this will be the name of the file that is downloaded. So very important to know exactly what you've named that and have it be relevant so that it's easy to locate and understand what it is when you do receive it. At that point, you can choose download and the download would happen. Let me remove our previous download here. It's just taking up space. You'll notice that I have a list of past exports. So we can see People v. Price, which we downloaded together. So your individual downloads are listed here as well as the batch downloads, the export queue downloads that you've conducted. You can always export these again. Let's say you work with 2 different machines. You've got one at the office and one at home, and you downloaded a statute at your home computer. Instead of doing the research again to find the statute that was eluding you for hours in the first place, you can come to your export queue from your other computer and just export it again. No need to repeat that research. Now let's talk about My Library. So we'll give this a click. You'll notice the first thing that shows up is our search history. This is a listing of clickable links for searches that you've conducted. So if I click on interrogatory within 20 adéquat, this will rerun this particular search. So these are the search terms. And over here at the left, we can see the database that I was searching within. So I can give this a click to run it again if I'd like. We also have document history. This is a listing of documents that I've accessed. If at any point in time I needed to, I could click on the document to pull it up again. I can also add the document to my export queue or add it to my bookmarks. Speaking of bookmarks, those live here. Here you can see a listing of bookmarks as well as folders that are available. So we have added a particular case, Argent v. Brady. We want to move this to a folder so that it's relevant. We'll choose webinar folder and click move here. That case is now moved inside my webinar folder. Now let's say we're taking Nelson v. United States and I need to move this into a folder, but not just the webinar folder. I want a Contra Costa folder. So I could click this and create a new folder. Now it's important to know that Fastcase does not provide the opportunity to nest your folders. So you can't have a folder inside of a folder. So what you'll see, my workaround for this is actually an alphabetized system. So if I would have had a Columbus folder inside of my webinar folder, I now have a Webinar Columbus folder. This means that when I'm going through, if I had just named this Columbus, then I'll have to remember that that's what I named it and that that's going to be located in the Cs. This is especially important if you have a very lengthy list of folders. By utilizing this function where you would name the sort of parent folder a hyphen and then the child folder, the inside folder name, this structure will help keep the information stacked together visually so that it's easier to review and come across. So if I wanted to add Nelson v. United States to a Contra Costa folder, I would create a new folder. But I want to make sure that I'm naming it properly. So it's not just my Contra Costa folder. It is specifically a webinar for Contra Costa folder. I'll click create. I can then choose that folder and click move here. And so now I have that structure that I was referencing and the document lives nice and neatly inside of the folder. Now, of course, the point of the bookmarks being you can access the documents as you need to. So you would simply click on the document to access it. You also have a listing for your saved searches and case law alerts, which I'll go over briefly now. So when you're conducting research in Fastcase, let's say that your standard practice is that every Friday you log in and you type in the exact same search because you want to see what new law has come out referencing that information, what new cases have come out discussing that particular point. And so every Friday you log in, you type it in, you run the search, and you view the newest cases. Instead, you can actually save that search so that you can avoid the typing in. You can do that by clicking the down pointing arrow in the search results page on the search bar and click Save this search. This is going to add this to your saved searches. So when you log in, let's say from the home page, what you can do is you can access your saved searches from My Library. You'll click My Library, you'll click Saved Searches, and then you can click on the search that you would like to re-access. For example, I have a multitude of these here. Here we've got a Miranda warning search that I've conducted and saved. Now, let's say instead of doing that, you would like to fully automate that process. You don't want to log in on Friday and type in anything. You don't want to log in on Friday and click on anything. You'd like for it to just do it by itself. It can. You can use the case alerts feature in order to perform that. So here I've got a search for Miranda and warning, and this is for a multitude of different document types. I'm searching everything. But if I choose the downward pointing arrow in the search bar, I can choose add as alert. This is going to then create a case law only alert for this particular search function. And it's automatically then going to send me an email at my chosen interval containing any new documents, any new cases that meet my search criteria. And you can manage those by going to My Library and choosing case law alerts. So under case law alerts, you can see I have a couple of different alerts. I've got a firefighter alert, a dog bite alert, a separate dog bite alert, and then I have this handguns alert in a couple of different formats. Here's the one we just created together, and here's one I created not long ago. Under our case law alerts, you can make changes to your options. So the default setting is daily, and if there are no new results each day, you do not get an empty email. You can click the edit icon here to make changes. So you can create a name for your alert. This is what shows up in the subject section. And you can also change the frequency. You can choose to receive these updates daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can also choose what happens if there aren't any new results. So you could say, do not send me an empty email. I get entirely too many emails as it is. Please no. Or you could say, please do send me an empty email because I prefer to remember that it's happened, that this is a function that I've created, and I prefer to know for sure that there's nothing new added today. If you choose weekly, you can choose which day of the week. And if you choose monthly, you can choose which date of the month. So these are all very handy options. And of course, if a search alert is no longer functioning for you or no longer serving your needs, you can delete it at any time. That does cover the bulk of the programming we needed to go over today. It looks like we do have at least one question that's come up. Let me take a look here. It says, is it possible to run a case search that excludes unpublished opinions? That is a fantastic question. So that is not automatically built into our system at this time. One way around that would be, say you needed to do a search for the word dog and you happen to know that the court phrases unpublished opinions as not marked for publication. You would put that phrasing inside quotation marks. So that would be the best type of workaround. Now, of course, we don't always know the exact phrasing that's utilized, so do keep that in mind. You may be working with more of a proximity indicator. Although I can say, when you are reviewing the search results, the unpublished opinions are typically much easier to distinguish because they all have, just docket numbers rather than citations. So you can at least sort of weed them out visually once you've got your results. All right. And it looks like that might be all of the questions that have come through so far. Thank you all for joining me. If you have any additional questions, please do quickly get those typed in. But while you're doing that, let me show you how to access our support team if anything comes up for you. So you can always click the Help and Support menu and choose More Support to find our contact information. But you can also click the chat button here at the bottom right of the screen. This gives you the opportunity to instant message with our support team in live real time. And that way it actually comes in very helpful if you have, you're having trouble creating a search, or you're just not getting something right, or you prefer not to talk on the phone. I'm talking to a certain generation here. Then perhaps that would be the best method for you. And we're always happy to take those chats. Then we did have another question. It says, how long does it take to get official report sites? So that's a fantastic question. Really, that's kind of up to just the function of the courts. Now, the cases themselves, we typically get within about 2 days of their publication. And there is a question asking how to get the CLE certificate. I believe that is being handled automatically, but I will leave that up to the Bar Association. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Did you want to answer that? Sorry.
Yes, you guys will be receiving your materials and attendance certificate via email within the next few days.
Great.
From me, yeah.
Thank you. And there's another question that's come through really quick before we close. And it says, is Docket Alarm included with your bar subscription? Not at this time. Docket Alarm is a sister site, and you do have the opportunity to have a Docket Alarm add-on subscription added to your bar affiliated account.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that great program. We will be doing this program again on August 4th and on October 3rd if you will need another refresher, or if you know anyone who couldn't make it today who wants to take this class. Thank you again, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.